this is Jenny from Homestead Corner, and I have had a few requests about book recommendations and stuff like that, wondering what kind of books I have on my shelves. And I am definitely not the average prepper with tons of prepper books on my shelf. I don't have that. I do have other things, skills and stuff. I have lots of skill books because I think skills are the most important prep that you can do. If we have long-term catastrophic events, we need skills. I don't care how much food you save or anything like that, you are going to need skills. So that is what I keep on my shelves, and I have, you know, a few things that are my favorites, and I figured I would show you them and tell you why they're my favorites. So this one here, this is the Beginner's Guide to Preserving Food at Home. And this has all kinds of information. This isn't just canning. It's got canning in it, it's got freezing in it, it's got dehydrating in it, brining, using a root cellar, your favorite fruits, herbs, and vegetables. It's got everything in here for you to preserve it, because you don't want to can everything and you don't want to dehydrate everything. So I think this book is invaluable because it helps you decide which way is best for you, what's going to work for you, what's the easiest for you. A lot of people like to freeze all their stuff. I like to keep my freezer specifically for meats and things like that. Very few vegetables go in there, and you can dehydrate stuff also. You can dehydrate your meat, so if you're, you can go any way, and that is the reason that I really like this book. It's the Beginner's Guide to Preserving Food at Home. This is the third edition. I really like it. It is by Chadwick, and this is a great book. I will put links to all the books I can find down in the description box below for you, but this is one that I really like, and you know, because if the grid goes down, you need to be able to preserve your food in other ways than freezing. So this is great because there's all kinds of stuff in here. Let's see, the next one, this is a really old book, but I like it. It's the Food Lover's Guide to Canning Contemporary Recipes and Techniques. I think this is like a 1980s book or something. It's pretty old, but this has a lot of great canning information in it. And my favorite thing about this book is in the back, there's this quick guide, and you can see here, and it lists all different kinds of fruits and vegetables and meats and how to can it. Do you need to water bath can it? Do you need to pressure can it? How long do you need to do it? Let's say tomatoes, if you looked up tomatoes. So tomatoes, it shows you here that you could to hot pack your jars, put them in a boiling hot water bath. You can do pints or quarts, and you can, depending, pints you do for 40 minutes and quarts you do for 45, and then there's a quick explanation of how to do it. Cut, peel, all that stuff. So, and there's all kinds of stuff here. You know, like spinach tells you to hot pack it, put it in a pressure canner. So I really like that. And let's see, and even, because this is an older book, this isn't a newer book, this has about canning zucchini and summer squash and stuff like that in it. So I do like older books. I think they're invaluable because some things nowadays they say, no, you can't can that, that's not safe. Well, it was safe back in the 80s or whenever this book was put out. See if I can find a date here. 1997 is the newest date. Yeah, so this was copyright in 1997. So I mean, it's 20-something years old, but things really haven't changed except for the USDA changes what they say is okay. That's what changes. Their opinion changes, but this information, I find these older books to be invaluable. They are really some of my favorites. So this is another one of my favorites, and I love that handy guide in the back of the book. So if I get an abundance of something, my friend just showed up with a big, huge crate of turnip for me, so I have to can that off, and quick and easy, I can look in the back and see that turnip, it's a root vegetable. I'm gonna pressure can it. You know, it's got all that information in there. So, you know, I've been canning for years, so a lot of stuff I know how I'm gonna process it as soon as I know what it is, you know. But someone that's new to canning, this stuff is invaluable. Charts like that, different kinds of recipes and things. It's invaluable to a new canner, definitely. All right, so the next one is, it's another food book, and it's Preserving the Summer's Bounty. Quick and easy guide to freezing, canning, preserving, and drying what you grow. So this, again, is kind of like the other book, but it's got a lot of great information in it. And if you take two similar books, you will find something different in each one. I think all books are, you know, definitely have an important piece to them. So this is another one that I really like, and it's got a lot of great recipes in it and a lot of great ideas. So so this is another one. And I buy most of my books used because they're still in great condition and they're a fraction of the cost. Okay, so my favorite foraging book, for me, it's going to be different for everybody. For me, it's Wild Edible Plants of New England. This is a field guide. This is an old book. It's got pictures in it, so you can see exactly what you're looking for. It explains in there, like if there is a similar one, it's going to explain the ribbing of the veins. It's going to explain if the bush is pricky. If it's something different, it explains it in here so you know that you're not getting something that is poisonous, because a lot of plants have poisonous things that look similar to them. So knowing the difference is important. I love having books on hand, but I do recommend when foraging for food, if you could find someone locally that teaches food foraging, I would definitely take a class. Or if you have a friend that already forages food, ask to go with them. I'm sure they would love to share their information. And books like these are wonderful to have on hand also. I am in New England, so I like the New England books. But if you are in the Southwest, you're going to want to look for something, the Southwest edible foods and wild foraging, whatever. So these are, I think these are great to have on hand. If you know, a catastrophic event that's long term, you may need to go out there and forage stuff. So that is another one. Okay, the next one that I really love and I think is a great book is The Ultimate Survival Medicine Guide. Emergency Preparedness for Any Disaster. I like this because it gives you all kinds of, gives you all the information. It gives you all the stuff that you need, really, if you have smoke inhalation problems, or it's got hurricane preparedness. Just for an example here, burn injuries. It shows you the three, you know, your first degree, your second degree, your third degree. If you're not, you know, if you haven't taken a first aid class, if you're not familiar with this stuff, this book is wonderful. It's got tons of great information in it. It explains about the first degree burns, the second degree burns, third degree, natural burn remedies, things that you can do for these burns. It tells you, you know, aloe, vinegar, witch hazel, black tea, baking soda, raw honey. It tells you how to use it too. How are you going to use this stuff? So I think this book is a wonderful book. It's got tons of information with tons of different scenarios and things in it. So this is a great book to at least have on hand if, you know, again, long-term, catastrophic, if we don't have doctors available, you've got to do it on your own. So this book is definitely another great one, The Ultimate Survival Medicine Guide. I like that one. Veterinarian Guide for Animal Owners. Another, if we have long-term events, disaster events, and you have to raise animals for food, you need to keep those animals healthy. We have raised all kinds of animals on our homesteads, from chickens to rabbits and goats and sheep and alpaca, and we have bees, and we've had chickens forever. I love having chickens on the homestead. I think they're important to have. And this book is great. It's got all kinds of information in it, what you can do, different kinds of restraints for different animals so you don't hurt them and they don't hurt you. So if you are in an area that you would be able to ever own animals, I think this is a good one to have on the shelf. Even if you don't have them right now, there may come a time that you have to raise a cow for beef, or you have to raise chickens for eggs and meat. You know, this is a great way to go. So this has got all kinds of animals in it and veterinarian information. It can help you get through. Just through books. We had the local vet that was in our area that did home visits for farm animals was no longer able to do that anymore, and I had a sick sheep, and I had to figure out how to be a veterinarian and save this sheep. She had an upper respiratory infection. I figured out the antibiotics that she needed and the minerals, and we went as natural as possible, but we did have to use an antibiotic. But we healed that little girl. She did great. So I think it's important. These things, even if you have cats and dogs and stuff, it's good to have some veterinary skills. That's another thing that you really should have. All right, and the next one. This one, I really love this book also, The Healing Power of Herbs. This is a little bit older as well, probably 10 years old or so. I really like this book, and it's got this has natural remedies for all kinds of stuff in here, tons of stuff. So you can, in the front here, you can look up each individual herb, what they do, how to harvest them, all that stuff. It's got it in the front here. And then there's another section where you can look up by specific physical problems. So if you've got kidney stones or menopause issues or gout or eczema, it's got all that stuff in here. And it takes you right to the page, and it gives you recommendations, how much to use, how much is toxic, so you don't take too much. Because a lot of herbs that you take are perfectly fine to take. If you take too much, though, it can be toxic. So this is a great book. I love this one. I think it's a great one to have on the shelf. So if you have to take care of your family with herbs, or I like to do that anyway, because as natural as possible is better for me. I don't like to take all kinds of medicine, or if I don't need to, I won't take it. I have a hard time taking Advil and Tylenol because I just don't like the way I feel. I can feel it like a rock in my stomach. I don't like it. So this is a great one. Another one, let's see, I have two more. Another one is the Everything Backyard Farming book. This is so easy. Everything is easily explained. Gardening, composting, raising animals, all that stuff. It's all in here, and it is easy. It's in layman's terms. It's a guide to self-sufficient living through growing, harvesting, raising, and preserving your own food. I know some people are not in situations where that's possible, but you may be one day, and you may not have a choice. So I think having books like this, so if you're stuck in that situation, you can access it, or even learning about it, because skills, skills, skills. I cannot stress that enough. All right, and last but not least is the Better Home Better Homes and Gardens Can It book. Fresh flavors and techniques for home canning. This is just another great book. Lots of easy canning, simple ways to do things. Jellies, jams, chutneys, vegetables, tons of great stuff. It's got delicious pictures, blood orange, marmalade. There's just tons of stuff in here. Salsas, jams. I think canning books are super important because if we have to preserve our own food, I like to do it anyway because I know what I'm eating. I know exactly what I'm putting into it. There is no chemicals I'm not adding. A lot of stuff that I can has water in it. Sometimes I put salt in, a tiny bit. I never put the recommended amount because it's just too salty for me. But when you can stuff, you know exactly what's in your food. You don't have to worry about it. So I think canning is a big thing, and it's a great way to build your stockpile for very inexpensive. If you go out and pick wild raspberries, you're getting basically free jelly, or 25 cents that you paid for the lid, and or 75 cents you paid for a jar. So 75 cents for fresh, organic jelly. You're not going to get that anywhere else. And so canning books, any canning book really, especially if you're new, ball canning book or something like that, I think is really important. When you're a new canner, definitely follow the guidelines. Some of my recipes on my YouTube are not USDA approved, but they're things that I have tested. I have seen other people have tested them, and I have been canning long enough that I know what I can trust and what I feel comfortable with. So it's all about comfort. When you're beginning, follow the guidelines, because I think that's important for you to get a feel of it and to know that what you're putting up is safe. So I don't recommend testing out random things in the beginning. Definitely tried and true recipes in the beginning, so you get comfortable, and once you've been doing it for a few years and you're comfortable, you can start canning your own random soups and picking whatever you want off the lawn and putting it in your food, and it will be okay. You'll get to a point where you trust it. Okay, this is the same, pretty close to the same as this. Let's give it a try. And then you can test it out. If it works, you're 100% positive. And that is it for my books that I really recommend. I do recommend also like bushcraft books. If you've never been out hiking and stuff like that, and my husband and I were avid hikers for many years before we had children. So we know all kinds of stuff, shelters and things like that, how to do all that stuff in the woods, how to care for your food in the woods, different things like that. So I think I think those kind of books are important if you don't have that experience already. So bushcraft books, maybe even like some camping books or something like that. How to do stuff in the wilderness, survival in the wilderness books would be great if you're not experienced with that. But I don't really have those books in my house because we have already been out there. When you spend a couple of days on the trail, you know what you're looking for. You get used to it after a while. We did it for years and we loved it, but now we have all kinds of kids and we're old, so we don't do it anymore. Which stinks. I kind of miss it. I love the woods, but carrying stuff around for days is not my thing anymore. I'm too old. My body can't take it. But that's it for this video. If you have any other book suggestions, please put them in the comments down below. I think there's just tons and tons of books out there, and any books will really start steering you in the right direction if you're curious about things. So and you'll find one book leads to the next, and before you know it, you've got so many stinking books you can't even choose which one's your favorite. So that's it. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up, subscribe. We'll see you in the next video. Bye. Bye!